guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be working on several different things. We're starting off with some tulip bouquets. So Mom is here. They're eating strawberries from the towers at the moment, and Benjamin and Samantha are also out here. We are going to tag team making these tulip bouquets, and we're going to take them to Wellsprings, which is the assisted living facility where we took the daffodils last time. That was such a fun project, and I want to try to make that more of even a weekly thing if I can do that. If we've got flowers ready to go, I would love to do that. So we're going to start with that. In fact, I already got out and picked some. We may have just shown you that footage. I picked the tulips last night, so they are in buckets in the root cellar, ready to be formed into bouquets. And then I would like to give you a tour through our raised beds. I want to show you how things are doing. I mean, just yesterday I noticed the celery we planted from seed is coming up. I was getting a little bit like wondering if it was going to do it, but now everything is coming up and looking great. And then after that, we're going to head out to the cut flower garden, and we are going to till up a row, just prepping a row, getting it ready for potatoes, which I'm hoping to plant tomorrow. We won't get that done today, I don't think. How are they tasting? Are those delicious?
They're so good.
Yeah. Samantha's still in her jammies. Lucky girl.
I like Samantha's shoes.
I do too. Those are her favorite right now. Yep. That's where it's at. So lots of I actually ate a bunch of these yesterday.
So good.
And gave Paul a bunch yesterday.
Oh,
Big old handful yesterday, yeah.
Mine aren't bearing, but of course they're outside in the ground.
Yeah, but they're probably blooming, I'm guessing.
They are blooming their heads off.
Yeah.
Are these seascape?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine are seascape. Yeah. Your herbs look really good, honey. Have the ones survived that are revived that I cut back?
Oh, yes. The chamomile actually looks like it needs some water. I filled up the thing yesterday. Yeah, it feels kind of moist. Maybe it's just a little too warm in here. Also, look at the mint that we planted. Remember the little 4-inch dinky mint plants we put in these pots? They look nothing like they did before. But anyway, we can head to the root cellar and get all the tulips. I'm hoping they held. They should in there. I might have to pop the sides open, or one side. It's pretty hot in there. So it's currently 36 in the root cellar. Oh, they look really good. Oh, look at all of these. There's tulips and a couple of buckets of daffs.
Oh my gosh.
Aren't they pretty?
Oh wow. Look at how full those are. Those look like peonies.
I know they do, don't they? And they're even bigger when they're more open, you know?
Oh, look at this little like
Those are lily,
tulip.
yeah, lily flowers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I love that.
The down this haw.
That's so pretty.
So we can haul all of these into the greenhouse. All right, guys, so this is what we've got. We've got Mount Tacoma tulips. These are called Wedding Gift. Aren't these gorgeous?
They're so
These are Morris Goodenough, and then these are, can't remember the name of these. Dang. And then we've got down this ha daffodils. There's Akebano tulips, and then these are called precocious staffs right there. So I've got some pint jars that are wide mouth, and usually we don't use brand new jars for projects like this. We get them from thrift stores and so forth, but I ran out. So what we're gonna do is make our bouquets in these today, and then when we take them up there, I'm gonna ask if they can just keep the jars there, because you know, usually they wash them and either donate them, or if they could keep them there, then next time maybe we can just take our whole buckets full of flowers up there and we can just refill the jars, maybe like on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, and that way we don't have to haul individual bouquets up there. It's a lot harder to do that than it is just to pop some buckets that are full into the cart. So we're just gonna make these bouquets, and then I'll give you guys a look when we're done. Okay, you guys, we've got 24 bouquets made, and the kids really pitched in and helped a lot. They did so great.
They did really nice.
Yeah, and some are very simple, just like a one variety, and some are mixed like that. They're all equally as gorgeous. Uh-oh, that one's down. So now we need to get these all packed up in the back of the truck, and then we will go make our delivery.
Oh my goodness, 2 of them. Whoa.
Here they are all together.
They're so pretty. Aren't
They
they
are.
beautiful?
What's your favorite one, Mom?
Oh, I have to say it's that multi-ruffle. This one.
Yeah, the daffodil.
Yeah, and I love yellow.
Me too.
Love,
I love
yellow.
those. Okay, we are gonna go deliver these. Again, like our last delivery, they don't know I'm coming today, so I'm not gonna film that part. We're just gonna go and set them inside their front door, and then they distribute them how they want to. It works out quite nicely. So we're gonna go get that done, and then we're coming back here to look at the raised beds. Also, before we make our delivery, we stopped and cut a couple more buckets for Mom to take home. We've got Del Nissa, Flower Parade, and what do you have? Blushing Lady.
A bucket of beauty.
Yeah, Blushing Lady. And then some of the more Skudenoffs that are a little bit more on that apricot side of things. Oh.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, I love it.
I just love it.
So pretty. Okay, we have made it. Oh, there they are. So pretty. All done. All right, we are back home, got all the flowers delivered, and the wind has died down just a little bit. I don't know if did I mention before that tonight's supposed to be 31 degrees, and this morning was so chilly. But when the sun comes out, I actually took my heavier coat off and put a vest on. Sun comes out, you warm up pretty fast, but I am just so thrilled with how the raised beds are filling in. So we'll just do a quick tour through it. I did bring out some bug and slug killer because we're gonna have to apply some around our cabbage plants. But here is a backed up view just outside of the vegetable garden. The Colette roses are going for it already, as is the Brunnera that we transplanted. Do you remember that? We dug these up from behind the chicken coop and moved them over here. They completely flopped. I mean, they just wilted and flopped over because it was kind of hot when I moved them. But they took hold, they rooted in, and they look beautiful right here. And then we've also got a clematis coming up. I cannot remember what variety it is. I think it's a purple one. We'll see. But as we go in, you can see the boxwoods in the containers are doing great. All 4 of them, because there's 2 on the other side, came out of the winter looking fantastic. We planted some, what variety did we plant in here? Dwarf gray sugar peas, and they're all looking great. Look at those, just absolutely beautiful. I just came through and watered everything. I have not swapped out the drip tubing yet. You can see all the drip flopped out of our carrot bed, which look at that. These are all the Danvers half-long carrots, and I need to do some thinning, big time thinning. Kind of went a little bit heavy with the seeds, but it looks beautiful. These took a while to germinate. They were the second to last thing that came up. The one that we waited the longest on was our celery. But I'm gonna swap all of these out for drip tape. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I just have been hand watering, which I actually love to do. It's so peaceful to come out here and just look at all the plants. You can see if there's a problem like the bug and slug killer. I'm gonna be using that today because I noticed there was something eating on just the bottom leaves of the cabbage. That's why I feel like it's slug or something like that. Right over on this side, we've got some dwarf blackberries. I just don't know. I don't know. They're kind of budding out a little bit, but the stems look kind of bad. My other blackberries out in the big garden are way further ahead. I think these may have dried out a little bit too much, so I might need to start over with those. We'll give them some time though. We've got garlic right here, really strong stand this year. I'm very happy with this. We've got another 3x4 bed up there, or over there rather, full, and then 2 L-shaped beds that have got garlic in them. And this one that we have under cover, we'll just peek in, we've got broccoli. These were all started with the winter sowing method. All of these plants came out of 1 water jug. Can you believe that? And I think we had 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 plants. We did lose 1 in the front corner over there, but I've got 2 plants together right here, so I guess we still have 21 plants in here. But don't they look awesome? And they were so much smaller when we started out, but I'm not noticing anything eating on these yet. We do have some little cosmos that are coming up, and I think I might just let them do their thing. They're the zinnia, or no, xanthos, right? Xanthos. They're light yellow. They're real pretty. Look at our spinach. Oh, it's so beautiful. There's something about baby crops like this, especially when they've got water on them, right after you're done watering them. They just look so fresh and so beautiful. I just have really been enjoying watching these grow, and we'll start using them here really soon. Right behind me, there's one of our beds of garlic. I could probably come in, I've already done an extra application of Garden Tone when we went around and fertilized everything this spring, and they got Biotone when I planted them, but they're such a heavy feeder. I'll probably come in with more Garden Tone in the next week or 2 give them another application, and we should have some nice big heads of garlic. We had, or have, daffodils. These are, I think, the Jetfire variety. A couple little flowers left. But even though they're kind of bloomed out, we can deadhead them and the little foliage looks nice for now. And then in this bed, the cilantro did take quite a long time to come up, but you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of cilantro, and then here are all the onions that we had left over after we planted all the rest of them out in the cut flower garden. I had enough to do like 2 here, and then I went in between each one of these rows and planted all the extras, and I think that'll work out perfectly. In this section right here, we had bachelor's buttons just seed themselves from last year, and they're the Blue Boy variety. Beautiful kind of true blue flowers, and they are wonderful cold crop, cool season flowers, and they do seed themselves clearly, so it's a really nice crop in that way. I did have a few ranunculus corms left over from when we planted out in the cut flower garden, so I popped those in here. I had a couple of ranunculus come up in our lemon pot in the greenhouse, so I pulled them out of there and popped them in here, and so far they're doing it. I've also got some anemones in here too. There's some ranunculus over there. Just kind of a menagerie of flowers. Here comes Aaron, the mower. We'll wait till he goes by. Okay, there's our other bed of garlic there, and then we planted some cabbage in this bed right here, which I think I'm going to recap it. I'm going to put the cap back over these just for tonight. But this is the stonehead cabbage. They're all looking great along with the tulips that came up. And there's a random lettuce plant right here. But I kind of like to see those things happen. These are looking really good, and I'm not really noticing, well, there's a little bit. See this? There's something chomping away at the bottom leaves. Oh, I see a roly poly down here. Do they do that? I don't know. Either way, let me go grab my bait, which is an organic product. Let me see what the active is in it. Can't remember. Is it iron? Iron phosphate and spinosad. It's like a little grain or granule. Granule? Is that a word? So I just shake it out around the plant. Kind of like that. That'll do it. I'm not going to cap these right now because it's too warm, but I'm going to come out later tonight and cap them so they're okay in the 31 degrees. They would probably be just fine, but I don't really want to set them back at all. I rarely use this little shake top because it takes forever to get it out. Usually what I do is this. I'm just going to sprinkle them around the plants. No bugs eating on our plants anymore. The only other thing I notice eating on our cabbage or broccoli are the little green caterpillars. You know, you see those sweet little white moths flying around in your vegetable garden in the spring. Those start as the little green caterpillars that usually eat further. Well, they'll eat anywhere on your plant, but you'll usually start to see holes form like further up the plant. That's what makes me think I'm not dealing with those quite yet. I'm dealing with something that's more on the ground. Oh, there's a weed. So at this point, I don't need to worry about the caterpillars. But you could either tent your crops like with the broccoli over there. I've got that cover over the top. Now, I don't have it very tightly covered, and there's a hole in the top, so it wouldn't really do a whole lot to deter the moths and the caterpillars. But there's insect netting that you can put over crops, and that way you don't have to treat them with anything. But you can also spray them with BT, which is the same stuff that we use for budworms in petunias and calibrachoa or superbells. It works really well, and it just targets the caterpillar stage of the insect. It doesn't even hurt the moth stage. It will not hurt pollinators. The caterpillar ingests that BT, and it kills them. There's Douglas. Okay, we're going to use a little bit of this in this bed as well. We've got the little cabbage. The variety is Katarina. They produce just these little itty bitty 4-inch heads of cabbage, but look at these leaves. You can see a roly-poly on this one right now. Shame. The plants look really good otherwise. We're just going to apply a little bit of this around each one of these plants as well. Okay, all done with that. Now this is the celery bed right here. We planted that in the other half, and you can see that they are just starting to come up. I'm so encouraged to see that little bit of green. There's more right here. I thought that maybe they had decided not to germinate this year. There's some here. I can see that something has been in here digging a bit because I did my rows straight, and I've got plants kind of going all over the place. And in the last 2 beds here, we've got a repeat of the garlic and a repeat of peas, but these are the sugar snap pole peas. So these will climb a little higher than the peas on the other side, and they're looking really good as well. Look at those. And it's looking beautiful down the brick walkway. Look at the tulips It's been mulched recently. Look at the roses looking wonderful. Everything's just so pretty. Of course, this is kind of where Samantha loves to ride her scooter and her little car. Yeah, super happy with this. Okay, so the last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna run out and prepare our potato bed so that it's ready for planting tomorrow. That means I'm gonna put in fertilizer, compost, and we get to try out our new rototiller, which we just bought this morning. I'm very excited about it because we've had the rototiller on the back of the tractor, but it's so wide. It creates like a 5-foot planting bed, which is great in some cases, but it's very hard to get that big tractor in a smaller space. And I don't really want to plant a 5-foot wide row of potatoes. I want it to be more narrow. And I wanted a tiller that made just a smaller pass so I could get it in tighter areas and work up the soil and work in amendments and things like that. And potato beds in particular, I don't rototill that often, but potato beds I will rototill because I want to be able to easily get them to the depth they need to be, and I also want to help loosen up the soil so they have a really easy time forming up their tubers, and they have a hard time doing that in harder or compacted soil. So I think that there's a time and a place. Rototilling is not something, again, that we normally do on a regular basis. I mean, I don't think we've actually tilled up a bed in there. It's been a long time. And I noticed as I was walking by a little bit ago that Paul and Aaron, when they got the rototiller out there, they've already tried it a little bit. They went in about 5 or 6 feet into the bed where I think I'm gonna plant. I gotta go out there and kind of look at what else is planted in that area and decide if that's where we're gonna put it or not. Let's go out there. There goes Aaron. He just gave me a lesson on how to turn this on. I haven't run this machine yet. This is the new tiller. It's called the Earthquake. And it looks like it tills an area about 18 inches. I should probably know that, but I don't think it says anywhere. It didn't on the tag. I just looked at the blades and thought, well, that looks perfect. I can either do one pass, or if I want to do a little bit of a wider row, I can go down and then come back and do a second pass. But I was feeling around in here because this is the area they just did, and then he reversed it for me because I am going to spread all my amendments first and then till them in. But it just creates this nice, fluffy planting bed. I just want to show you how deep it goes right there. So I can pop those potatoes in and they just have this nice area to form up their tubers. And this is the area where we are planning on having a lot of perennial flowers, or that was what my mindset was last year, was to shift this quadrant to mostly perennials. Then we could have our annual quadrant, our roses, and then our dahlia area. But I think this whole flower garden is just going to be whatever we need it to be in the current year. And what my plan is on the dirt lands where we had all of our potatoes last year and our onions last year, I only want to grow vine crops out there, possibly sunflowers, and you never know. I mean, if we get a wild hair, we might plant more things out there, but I wanted to condense our crops and not plant quite as many things because we just always have so many, and I didn't want the maintenance of all that. So I think just one row of potatoes, or however far I can get with the potatoes, will be great. In this section right here where we had our wheat last year, I intend on planting maybe a block of corn, a block of sunflowers, our peppers, and whatever else we decide. So this is what we need to do first. I'll put in my starter fertilizer, we'll put in our compost, and then we are going to till it in. What was that? There it is. Oh my goodness, that freaked me out. Ah, dang it ruined my nice line. Okay. That looks so good. But you guys, I think we're gonna till up this spot and plant the potatoes over here instead and stick with flowers in this row for a while. And the reason for that is, and I'm gonna try to squat down here and use the gator as a wind block, we've had foxglove planted in this row for the past 2 years. And foxglove, they are extremely toxic, like the plant themselves, the flowers, the seeds, all that business, and I'm guessing the roots are as well. And I started to wonder, like, oh, do those toxins, did they release into the soil, and is it possible for the next generation of plant to pick up that toxin and, you know, put it into their fruit? Because I certainly don't want to run into any issues in that realm. So I did a little searching around. Nothing that I could find said that they actually do that. That's a Digitalis purpurea is the variety that I had in here. And I think that that's called allelopathic. It's kind of like black walnuts and how they release a toxin into the soil. So even though I can't find any evidence that they actually do that, it still makes me a little bit nervous. So I think we have tons of flowers to plant anyway. So we're going to plant flowers in this row, at least for a while. Let this soil kind of rebound from having foxglove here, and we'll plant potatoes away from them. It makes me feel better anyway. And I can still maintain what I was going to do in here. I can do a block of potatoes, I can do a block of corn, block of sunflowers, and probably peppers. I'm guessing, depending on how many potatoes I have, but if I'm planting them this wide, I won't be able to go quite as far with them. Anyway, that means I need to go load up a few more amendments here so we can amend this row now, and then we'll run the tiller probably, I'm guessing, 3 times over the space for the correct width. Look at that, all prepped and ready to go. The tiller made real quick work of it. That's going to be so nice to plant in. And Benjamin and I got the drip tape kind of set back in place. We'll need to tack it in. I've got little piles of landscape staples along the way. So as I'm on my knees, planting potatoes here, I'll go ahead and grab those landscape staples and tack down all of these runs. And you have to tack it down every so often because they want to move around quite a lot when the water moves through them. But other than that, it works really, really well. And these rows of drip tape, look at how clean they're looking. There's no white crust on them. So we're going to use these again this year. And then the drip tape from this row we're going to replace because those were pretty crusty. Also, I feel like I was getting much more comfortable with the tiller toward the end. I kind of maneuvering it and using the reverse. Right here, there's a reverse, but every machine works a little bit differently. So, every one of them is going to have different ways. Like there was a model that was, I don't know, $400 more than this one. It just didn't seem worth it to spend that much more. And it looked like it had a lot more maybe bells and whistles than this one does. But this one does exactly what I need it to. So I'm happy about that. And that's it, you guys, for today's projects. I'm so excited to have this ready to go. That means tomorrow morning, Benjamin, are you going to come out with me and help me plant potatoes?
Yeah, but you gotta warn me.
I gotta warn you?
I'm bad at remembering.
You're bad at remembering? You're not bad at remembering anything. But I will remind you. I'll remind you before you go to bed and when you get up in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and we will see you tomorrow to do some potato planting. Bye.